the wrong car.
What's that?
Yes, it is. But the plate don't match.
The last 4 or 5 are wrong.
It's the wrong plate.
1 year ago, an Illinois man was on his way home from Costco when he was just suddenly surrounded by police officers, all pointing guns at him, screaming for him to get out of the car. But within moments of being removed from his SUV, that man would be free to go because police discovered they made a terrible mistake. And now that man is suing the officers and the Village of Woodridge. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. A man named Derrick House got caught up in some serious drama that really shouldn't have happened, and it was all out while he was running some errands back on January 19th, 2024. He was heading home in his Volkswagen Atlas when unmarked police cars forced him to stop, and officers came out with guns drawn. Here's the problem. The police would soon figure out that they just pulled over the wrong vehicle, okay? Not the person they were looking for. But by then, House was already in the back of a cop car. Now he is suing 5 police officers individually, as well as the Village of Woodridge itself. This is out in Illinois. So the officers are Daniel Murray, Zachary Harvey, Brett Kilbasa, Tom Cybulski, and Patrick Prendergast. Now, he claims that he was subjected to, quote, excessive force, false arrest, failure to intervene, assault and intentional infliction of emotional distress in connection with a warrantless vehicular felony stop and arrest, and factual misidentification of the plaintiff as a shooting suspect, when in fact the only thing plaintiff was doing was driving while black. That is all from the complaint. So how do we get here? Well, to talk about that and the video of what happened next, and I'll tell you right now, I just watched it in preparation for this show. This video is insane. I want to bring in civil rights and criminal defense attorney Tyler Bailey. Tyler, thanks so much for coming on. You know, this is not the first time we've seen these kinds of cases, unfortunately, but generally speaking, before we talk about the specifics of this case, how tough is it to sue the police and a village or a city for these kinds of actions, these kinds of wrongful stops or wrongful arrests?
Yeah, these are tough cases, but the facts speak for themselves. Videos speak for themselves. I mean, federal civil rights cases, when you're holding police departments responsible, along with the officers and the municipality, are always challenges, but they have to be brought so that things are better for everybody. They're tough cases.
So, Tyler, I want to talk about this. And according to Goodridge Police, they had gotten a report of a shooting in Oswego, so that's about 20 miles away. And House argues that they were supposed to be on the lookout for a black Volkswagen Tiguan with a specific plate. But here's the thing. He was driving a silver Volkswagen Atlas with a plate that only partially matched the one police were looking for. So in the lawsuit, House's attorneys state, as he approached slowing traffic, appearing to be due to an accident ahead of him, he noticed an unmarked car approaching him from behind at a high rate of speed. Derrick promptly pulled to the curb lane to allow the vehicle a wide berth because he was unsure of what its purpose was. Instead of driving by Derrick to the crash scene ahead, the vehicle abruptly swerved in front of Derrick's Atlas, pinning the Atlas to the curb side of the roadway and preventing Derrick from moving further. The defendant, Daniel Murray, who was operating the unmarked vehicle, jumped out of his unmarked vehicle in plain clothes wearing a tactical vest, drew his service pistol, and standing abreast of the driver's side of Derrick's Atlas and slightly behind Derrick in the driver's seat, pointed his service pistol directly at Derrick's head from only approximately 10 feet away and began screaming loudly at Derrick confusing and contradictory commands. Hands up right now and put the blank window down. And all of this was apparently caught on police-worn body camera. So I'm going to play you some portions of that. Take a look at how it started.
Window down! Put the 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 window down! Put both of your hands out the window right now! Put both of your hands out the window!
I got commands.
Go ahead.
You, with an outside hand, reach out, open the door. Watch your crossfire. Okay, real slow, left hand, do it from the inside. You come out with a gun, we are going to end you. Do you understand? There you go. There you go. Come on out.
I gotta put the time.
Put it in park. Put it in park. Real slow. Everything real slow.
I'm gonna shoot you in your head if you come up with anything other than that.
All right, real slow.
Y'all got the
Slow down. Slow down. Somebody shut off that siren. Left hand, real slow across your body, undo your seatbelt. I got you. You look at me, nobody else. You do what I say, you'll be okay. Real slow, come out of that car. You guys got cover?
Got cover. I got
Face away from me. Face away from me. Face that car. Walk back to me, real slow. Real slow. Real slow. Now move. Hands behind your back right now.
Oh, man. I don't have any weapons. I just came from Costco, dude.
Do not move. Do not move. 61 to 10.
That car. You guys gotta be.
Slow down, my man. We're going to explain everything in a minute, but we're going to do it safe.
You want to put it in the micro?
Yes, please.
Have a seat.
Bring him to one of our interview rooms.
I got you.
Matt, can you follow him? Gentlemen, not a word with him. Don't explain what's going on. Don't ask him no questions. Good?
Got you.
How disturbing is that? Again, he didn't do anything wrong. Can you imagine being in that position, just driving, doing your errands, and you get pulled over like that, guns drawn? I mean, how terrifying is that? What a disturbing case, you know? And I will tell you, this is a prime example of one that's important to shed a light on, a story that we need to tell, because unfortunately, this isn't the first time we've seen something like this. And for that, I gotta call out our amazing sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, because it's with their support that helps us to bring you these stories, bring you these episodes. Now, here's the deal. If you're injured, Morgan & Morgan, the exclusive personal injury law firm of Law&Crime, America's largest injury law firm, that may be who you want in your corner. You know why they have over 1,000 attorneys? Because they win a lot. In the past few months, Morgan & Morgan secured a $29 million verdict for a bicyclist in Philadelphia, $2.7 million verdict for a car accident victim in Florida, and not to mention $5.6 million for a car crash victim in Georgia after insurance offered that client $0. And even if you think your case isn't worth millions, why not start a claim and fight for what you deserve? And Morgan & Morgan makes it so simple. You can start a claim from your phone in just 8 clicks. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/LC-SIDEBAR. Now here's what happens. As a couple of the officers are searching House for any weapons and putting them in the patrol car, this other officer starts to realize and starts telling his colleagues, something's wrong.
Hey, Tom, this is the right car. That's not the right car.
Listen, Alex.
This is the wrong car. Yeah, this is the wrong car.
We're all good.
This is the wrong car.
Of course not.
Yes, it is. But the plate don't match.
The last 4 or 5 are wrong.
This is the wrong plate.
Yep, yikes. Just 30 seconds after House was put in that back seat, the officer pulls back over, lets him out. And as you can imagine, he is understandably angry.
Take him out. Wrong car. Take him out. Wrong car. Hop on, man.
Place the car.
So you have handcuffs. Get you go. Okay, I'm going to give you some information on who I am. So we talk about what's going on, okay? But I want to take care of these handcuffs first. Oswego PD had a shooting. There's car plates. The car is the same as yours. Plates match with. Wait, hold on.
No.
Hold on.
No.
See, look at me.
No.
Plates match. 2 of them are off. All right. That's why you placed the handcuffs. We thought you were the guy.
No.
All right. You're not. I understand that. All right. Hey, listen. Look at me. This up.
Okay.
Understand that? I'm gonna give you my card. This is on me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely on me. Let's clear these roads out.
Y'all threatening to shoot me in the
Yeah.
head and Don't move. Put your hands up. Like,
You're right.
This is
ridiculous.
Okay, well, listen.
This is ridiculous. I've been out here for 15 years and never have I once in my life. My man, nothing,
But
dude.
you have to look at it.
My man, nothing, dude.
But
That is
he's got every right to
just unacceptable.
You are absolutely
Especially you, Harvey. Especially you, bro.
Okay. All right.
That is your name. My name is Derrick House, man. I've been out here. I lived in for 10. I've been in for 3, man. I'm upstanding citizen. My kids go to school here. I'm well respected. Wrong. You're right. You don't do that. You don't do that.
And by the way, you know, you hear the officer say it was the same car. Arguably, it wasn't the same car. So, Tyler, your reaction to those videos?
Well, first, just as a black man growing up in America, you know, the thing that you hate the most or you hope that you're never a suspect of is, you know, you're doing everything right in life. You're paying your taxes, you're working hard, you're raising your kids, and then you get treated like a criminal unjustly just because you seem to fit a description in somebody's own narrative versus what's even factually on paper. And legally right here, the problem, I mean, you expect basic police work. Look at the vehicle. Make sure the license plate matches. Before you draw your weapons, you pull somebody out the car. Those are things you can't take back. I mean, the trauma that he felt, doing one wrong move, his life could have ended. He's right down the street from his house where he knows his family is. That's the thing that angers him. And I'm angry just even watching the video because over and over again, you know, we try to do what's right. And so when you're treated like this, it just sets you completely back.
I want to talk about what a defense to this could be, because you could say, okay, listen, they made a mistake. They're human beings. Everyone makes mistakes. If this was actually the real culprit, the real person they were looking for, their behavior is exactly what they should do in that situation. You know, you're hearing about a shooting, you're hearing about a crime. They have to be that aggressive. This is who they thought it was. And maybe their response is so aggressive because they had a legitimate good faith belief that this was who the suspect was. It's a chaotic time. And I'll couple that with this. This is a spokesperson for the Village of Woodridge issued a statement in response to the lawsuit. And we'll get into the lawsuit in a minute, but it reads in part, on the day in question, our officers were responding to a highly volatile situation involving individuals suspected of possessing firearms, slashing tires, and discharging a weapon. Given the immediate danger posed by these individuals, officers acted based on information available at the time, which led to the stop of a vehicle that unfortunately was not the one they were specifically seeking. While we deeply regret any distress or inconvenience caused to the occupant of the vehicle involved, our officers acted under the assumption that they were intervening in an emergency with the safety of the community at the forefront of their actions. This was a decision made in good faith with the intention of preventing further harm. Tyler, your reaction to that?
Yeah, great points, Jesse, and great question. You know, we do want law enforcement officers to be able to act quickly when they do need to do a felony stop. But that's why it's really important that officers are trained properly for these type of settings. It's high stakes, anxiety is high, emotions are high, the adrenaline is rushing. So if officers if they go about this too rashly, somebody can lose their life. If this gentleman who pulled out his car moved too quickly, as you heard the officer say, I will shoot you in your head. Those are the stakes that are set in situations like this. So they do need to act quickly, but they do need to do basic things. Check the license plate number. How about you pull over the vehicle first? Hey, ask them to step outside the vehicle. Then draw your weapons. Make sure that this is the right vehicle. Make sure it's the right license plate. So you have to do these little things first. And so, I mean, you have gross negligence here completely. Look at the tag, and then you look at how things are escalated. Let's say this gentleman decided to move too quick. He lost his life. Would the officer still have acted reasonably under the situation? I highly doubt it. So you have to look at it like that. If anything, this guy, he was the one who was calm, cool, collected.
Yeah, and he was. And then afterwards, he was understandably angry. But again, you know, you could almost hear that other officer saying, he said, like, my man, you have to understand our perspective about it. And then he was cut off. By the way, do you think that it was interesting that we get a response from the Village? Don't we usually see responses? We can't comment. There's pending litigation. Do you think it was interesting they actually issued a response to this lawsuit?
With the dash cam and body camera footage out there, and this being a case of public concern, I think it's always good for government entities to actually give a statement because it helps shape public opinion. Because if they simply said no comment, and not explained it to the public, then the only thing that you would hear or would be the lawyer's lawsuit and the press release. So I think more and more it's important that government entities do actually speak up and give their perspective, because it allows the public to have this nuanced conversation that we're having now.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point. All right, so let's talk about the lawsuit. The defendants are accused of violating 7 causes of action. So 3 are alleged violations that fall under the Fourth Amendment, protection from unreasonable searches and seizures. And then there are 3 a part of these. So there's false arrest, excessive force, and failure to intervene. So that is that House believes that the other officers who pulled up the scene, they should have stopped their colleagues, de-escalated the situation sooner. Tyler, talk to me about those claims, and are they right? Is he right? Is this a Fourth Amendment violation?
This is clearly a Fourth Amendment violation. I mean, there was excessive force in seizing him. He pulled out his vehicle with a gun at gunpoint. His life was threatened for no reason, because it wasn't the right vehicle and it was not the right license plate. So it's clearly unconstitutional on that front. He should have never been arrested. He should have never been placed in handcuffs and put in the back of a vehicle, feeling that steel on his wrist and being put in that small seat in the back of the car is something that people should not take lightly. Most people go through their lives following the law, and when they're accused of breaking the law and actually put in cuffs, that's something you can't take back. Now, the weakest claim, I think, would be the failure to intervene, because you do see the officer, once he realized it was the wrong vehicle, he tells the other officers the wrong vehicle. They do walk to the back and take him out the car.
But the argument would be he shouldn't have been detained because there wasn't sufficient probable cause. Could they say probable cause is we know that we were on the lookout for somebody, his car, even though it's not the same, was similar to what we were looking for. There were certain numbers that matched up on the license plate, not all of the numbers. Is it going to be a battle over what is and what isn't probable cause?
Well, here's what it really comes down to. I think there's reasonable suspicion to stop his vehicle. It was a Volkswagen. Now, the first thing once you make a stop, there's usually a vehicle behind the suspect's car. Read the license plate then.
Yeah.
So they could have somebody checking the license plate at the same time. That could have been a 30-second ordeal before he was pulled out the car, before he's put in cuffs. Because we do understand felony stops do need to happen, but the first thing you should do is, once the situation's secure, check the license plate. And that should happen pretty quickly.
They'll argue it was a chaotic situation. It was, as they say, volatile. We did our best to check, but it's an ever-evolving, rapid situation. We couldn't fully confirm out of fear that, the car would drive away or there was a danger. I know the arguments they're going to put forward, but it's interesting, and you're right. They should have been able to properly identify the car before they pull it over. Now, 3 of the other counts, they fall under Illinois' common law. So I want you to explain what these are when we talk about them. So we're talking about common law assault, common law false imprisonment, and common law intentional infliction of emotional distress. And also, if you can also explain, they're also suing under a respondeat superior theory. So if you can, explain to us what we mean by all of these counts under common law: assault, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and why is it important that they're being presented under a respondeat superior theory?
Yeah, so first, they have their constitutional claims that are federal law, federal statutes, but they're common law, state law claims regarding assault. That's when the officers pulled the weapons on them. They had the ability to act out on harming him unjustly. You heard the officer say, "Hey, I'll shoot you in your head if you move wrong." Common law false arrest. He was placed in handcuffs. He was placed in the back of the vehicle. He's under arrest and not free to move at that point. Arguably, I think he was arrested before he was even in cuffs. Under the response, I think the next one was
intentional infliction.
False imprisonment.
That was the false imprisonment, and then there was intentional infliction of emotional distress, which I will tell you right now, I've always been dubious of that. Certain lawsuits. So it's very easy to claim emotional distress. I'm watching that video. I felt it. Right? I felt the stress. I felt what he must be going under. I mean, having guns pointed at him, the idea that at any second one of the officers could either mistakenly or deliberately pull that trigger. He has no idea what's going on. I'd find that one, intentional infliction of emotional distress, probably his strongest claim. I mean, you tell me.
I think it's a very strong claim under these facts. I mean, just put yourself in his shoes. He's driving, leaving Costco. He's pulled over. Guns are drawn on him at all sides. You hear this loud siren. You hear yelling that if you move, I'm going to shoot you in the head. I mean, that's something he's probably going to dream about with nightmares the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And then under respondeat superior, that's supervision. So, saying that these officers are the supervisors as the department should be liable for the actions of their officers.
The village.
The actions
the
of
village.
them just,
Yeah.
Yeah, the village should be responsible because their officers were under the course and scope of their employment. They were wearing badges they were deputized by the village, and therefore they're responsible for the actions of their officers.
There's one final count I wanted to ask you about. It covers municipal indemnity. So the lawsuit states how all the defendants were acting on behalf of or within the scope of their duties for Woodridge. And it reads, as a result of defendant's conduct, plaintiff is seeking monetary damages, attorney's fees, costs, and interest. Illinois law directs local public entities to pay any tort judgment or settlement for which it or an employee, while acting within the scope of his employment, is liable, including, where applicable, statutory attorney's fees and costs. So in other words, they are trying to say, Village, you better pay up here. You're on the hook. Is that what that's about?
Yeah, legally, because a lot of times what you have in these police cases, you may have officers who do something that's clearly outside of what they should do as a law enforcement officer. Let's say officer just decided to shoot an innocent person for no reason. Well, if somebody sued that officer, they could be held liable for violating their constitutional rights. And if you get a big judgment against the officer, they may not have $30 million to pay, but the city may have the money to pay. So right here, they're naming the city, saying even if there is a big monetary award against the officers for violating his constitutional rights, there's still tort liability that the city should be responsible for paying those damages to this gentleman who has rights violated versus the officers only paying out their pocket.
By the way, I wanted to ask you about one more thing. It was being reported by Fox 32 Chicago that their journalist had asked the Woodridge Police Department if any of the officers involved in this incident were disciplined, and they said they didn't receive a response. Now, at the time of this recording, that hasn't changed, but Tyler, what do you think about that? Does that mean that they weren't disciplined? I mean, if they were put on administrative leave, you would think, well, I don't know, because if you're the police department and you say they're put on administrative leave, then you might be saying you're acknowledging they did something wrong. But if they weren't put on leave or something like that, then are you acknowledging that what they did was right? And would that not look good from a PR point of view, maybe even a legal point of view? I don't know. Are you surprised they didn't respond? What does that tell you?
I'm not surprised they don't respond. This is one of those situations that they do say they're on administrative leave, then that clearly makes it look as if they did act wrong and they were negligent, to say the least, or they were just intentionally violated this gentleman's constitutional rights. And then if they do not speak right and they say, we did not discipline them, it seems like they are acting as if they're emboldened to act like this. So I'm not surprised that they did not speak, I guess, candidly on that point. But in these situations, the officers are all but certainly usually counseled, to say the least, where they talk to their superiors about how they could handle the situation better so they can improve more in the future. And hopefully that's what you want with these cases like this, not just for the person who's wrong to be made whole, right? The only thing you can do is monetarily compensate him for what he went through. But you also hope that officers learn from these experiences and this doesn't happen to somebody in the future. That's why these cases are important when there's body camera footage, dash cam footage, because we do need police officers to do good jobs. We want them to be able to stop people who are felony stops, but you have to constantly improve. And unfortunately, this gentleman's rights were violated when they made mistakes here.
It's got to be accountability, and what that accountability is, we'll see. But Tyler Bailey, thanks so much for coming on, breaking it down for us. Always appreciate it, and good seeing you as always.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.